BionicDance is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Hey guys, Pastor Greg Locke here. You know, one of the things I'm sick of, I'm just going to say it, all these anti-Trump people that say, you can't be a Christian and love Jesus if you voted for Donald Trump, because I know Jesus would have never voted for Trump.
Look, I try to stay away from partisan politics in my videos. It's difficult because of how blatantly right-wing religion tries to insert itself into our laws, so sometimes there's just plain no option. But I do try. And there are so many things wrong with the scenario Greggy Poo suggests here, so it's hard to know where to begin. But let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers. BionicDance here. It's been a while since I felt compelled to respond to this guy, but his message, regardless of whether it's about Donald Trump or not, is so thoroughly horrid that I just couldn't let it stand unchallenged.
First of all, if you're not a Christian, you don't get to tell me what Jesus would or would not do. You have to believe the Bible before you can cite it as an authoritative source in your life.
If someone has used anything, Bible or not, to justify a position they've taken, and that position is blatantly contradictory to what's in the source material, then yes, we get to cite it to point out your error or hypocrisy. And I got the impression that the people telling you that you're wrong were Christians, or at least that it isn't solely non-Christians making these arguments. If the message is actually that we have to not only believe the Bible, but believe it the way you do, then it's pretty clear that the point is to silence dissent entirely. Let me know how that goes. I'll be waiting right here. Count on it.
Secondarily, let me say this. Can I remind you that Jesus voted in and appointed Judas Iscariot for 3.5, almost 4 years of his ministry, and that guy was a devilish betrayer.
Which means Jesus is an idiot. You'd think that, had he known Judas would betray him, he'd have told the guy to get stuffed. Regardless, how is this an argument in favor of trusting Jesus' political appointments? He chose a devilish betrayer and Donald Trump. Jesus just can't seem to pick a winning horse, can he?
The king's heart's in the hand of the Lord. God can use anybody he jolly well pleases for his own glory and his own purposes, because that's what makes him God. And no, I'm certainly not 100% Trump. He puts his socks on one leg at a time like everyone else. But I don't want to speak evil of dignitaries, because this man is in power for a purpose. God put him there, and your head's in the sand like an ostrich if you can't see that.
So, is there anybody God didn't put there for a purpose? Tyrants, dictators, the worst of the worst. What purpose do they serve that God felt the need to have them installed and thus have many people slaughtered in their name? Or how about people who go in the opposite direction, who are kind and benevolent, just not in the way you want them to be? Was God the one who installed leaders only when they're the ones you like? This is no different from the creationist argument that the human body is perfect because of how complex and functional it is, completely ignoring its many flaws. Or saying that God is loving because, hey, look at the amazing first world life he gave me, completely ignoring the starving children in the third world. Religious blinders firmly attached, Captain. Let's roll out.
He has said and done some very dumb, foolish, and immoral things. He still needs to pick up his elementary tweets a little bit, because that's causing some trouble as well. But I'm here to tell you, at the end of the day, he's still the president. Let's make the best of it.
Make the best of it? How? It sounds like we both agree that Trump's kind of a chowderhead. What do you propose we do? Let the chowderhead destroy the country and support him because of the office he holds? To paraphrase G.K. Chesterton, saying my president, right or wrong, is like saying my mother, drunk or sober. If you think that making the best of it is supporting a destructive dumbass, think again.
I love how the anti-Trump left says things like this. You're nothing more than bigoted, dumb, white trash. You crooked-toothed hillbilly. You don't have a bit of education in your brain. Really? Coming from the same people that call me a homophobic, Islamophobic, xenophobic bigot? Are you kidding me? Who's the bigot now, bucko?
Well, I personally would leave off the insulting cultural stereotypes, but I can't help agreeing with the underlying sentiments. You are a homophobic, xenophobic bigot. I've seen enough of your videos to know that. You're not exactly the nicest, most accepting guy in the world, you know. And you're from Tennessee, not particularly known for tolerance on lots of different issues. And this is the internet, where even the nicest people don't tend to hold back. I mean, what did you expect? Being told you're a lovely person? Being treated with respect when you're acting like a hateful jerkwad? Get actual. Try being a little nicer. You'd be surprised the effect that can have on how people respond to you.
So here's a confession. I love Jesus. I believe the Bible. And yes, I voted for Donald Trump. Oh yeah, and then there's the minute-by-minute threats and comments. You ought to kill yourself, you uneducated hillbilly. You and your family ought to rot in hell. Your church isn't any good. The church I go to is all about love. My pastor would never speak out against gay marriage and radical Islam. He would never say anything against Planned Parenthood. Well, it sucks to be you, doesn't it?
Those sounded like points of pride. That's like trying to tell me it sucks to be a lesbian when I really, really enjoy it. I don't agree with the shout-outs against your family. That's not okay. But you really aren't coming off like a rocket scientist right now. Go to your doctor and ask for a logic injection. Yes, seem to be running a deficiency.
We actually believe in standing up and standing out, speaking up and speaking out for what is right, what is moral, what is biblical, and what is godly. And I want you to know that some of us aren't for sale.
What does that even mean? Do you think people are trying to bribe you to change your mind? And newsflash, Chester, everyone else is standing up for what they think is right and moral and all that jazz. And what you're doing is manipulative, intolerant, unfriendly, and wrong. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with you being a dick and everybody else reacting to it. If you could learn to live and let live, but you won't, will you? After all, you've got your godly mandate, right? You bring this on yourself by refusing to live and let live. You're not being told to shut up because of who you are. It's because you're trying to force it on other people that gets you in trouble.
The man's not even been in office a year yet, people. Sit down and be quiet and give the man a chance to unite the nation.
Like I said at the beginning, your premise with this video is to silence dissent. Are you the only one who gets to speak their mind? And you're fucking kidding yourself. How do you expect him to unite the nation when his policies are blatantly divisive? And what does how long he's been in office have to do with it? He's obviously an incompetent and hypocritical buffoon. How much damage are we supposed to let him do before saying enough is enough?
And here's one of my favorite ones. If I lived in your town, I would never go to your church. That's okay. We're growing so fast, we need your seat anyhow.
Bitch, my high school was bigger than your church, and I was raised in tiny-ass Vermont. And isn't your God's message and love supposed to be for everyone? And yet, here you are, telling people to get lost. God doesn't need you. Yeah, you're definitely his messenger, all right. And I'm spent. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please, think.
Even YouTubers need Ferraris. Please donate on Patreon.
You've got two choices. You can rate this video and share it everywhere across social media, or I can send my minions after you. Choose wisely.